Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your tarot reading for the week ahead. What a topsy-turvy time. It's all good. It's nothing you can't handle this week, Cancer. But I kind of want to come in and give you a bit of a hug. It's weird because you've got a mix of almost all the suits here. You've also got a card that has been showing itself again and again and again. Is the devil. Dun, dun, dun. Mostly it's been absolutely fine, and again, I don't say mostly because in this instance it's any sort of exception, but it's interesting that it keeps being shown because in particular you've got the Lord of Conflict here too, the Five of Swords. You know, what I've been saying to all of the star signs, and you are going to be no exception, is going back home or being with a family in particular. I know that doesn't include all of us, but some of us, it can be challenging, right? It can bring stuff up. It can, even though we try to stay cooler, calm, and collected, and there's more on that in a moment, it's not always possible. The reason that this is probably hitting you the hardest, Cancer, is for two reasons. One is you're quite sensitive, dare I say. As much as you like try to wear the armor and hide the fact. But yeah, it's partly the sensitivity, and also just because you're such homebodies and home is so important to you. And when that gets disruptive, disrupted? Well, maybe disruptive as well, given the Five of Swords. When that becomes kind of challenging and complicated, that feels very, very close for you. So if that isn't working, if that isn't right, if your sanctuary is not in place and there's a place for you to retreat to, being the crab, then that can, yeah, no wonder that aspect is going to be a little bit difficult and a bit challenging. What is also perhaps going to be challenging, and don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. We've got lots of yellow coming up, so you're all fine. Don't switch off just yet. But the five, you've got the Eight of Wands opening your reading. Eight of Wands, the Lord of Swiftness. Sometimes the Eight of Wands can be very, very exciting. This also appeared last. I wish I could remember the star sign that this came up, but it was almost exactly the same message this month, this week rather. So you're not alone by any means, but just they're feeling almost too much going on, spinning too many plates, having to juggle too many balls. Again, this was something that I said, I think, to Aries and Sagittarius, something like that. So you can check out their videos if you want some more information around that. Sometimes that can be really exciting, really invigorating. Wow, there's lots going on. It feels great. But it's like, it may feel at times, is this the straw that's going to break the camel's back? There may be last minute firefighting to do. Nothing beyond what you can handle. But just... You might not necessarily pop open the champagne just yet, because there may be those last minute little demands, those last minute little challenges. I say this in part because of that combination with the Eight of Wands and the Devil. Yeah, it's just I can see you almost putting your hand up, going, "Stop it, go away, leave me alone." You wanting to really retreat, and there's just those last little niggles. So have you made sure that you've crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's? Have you left loose ends? If you have, don't be surprised that they're going to come a tapping and say, "Excuse me, you still need to finish me off." That sounds a bit wrong when I say that. So yeah, probably, but have you kind of completed the task at hand? If not, literally the devil's in the detail here. So yeah, pun intended. What's great is that we have the no, we don't. We have the King of Pentacles and the Three of Wands. The King of Pentacles, I really feel the moment that you are able to shut the door and shut the world off is gonna feel great. because the King of Pentacles is the most stable energy within the deck, arguably, the most secure, the most in his castle. And that's really nice to see. He is covered in vine leaves as well, so probably lots of celebrations to be had, lots going on. So you will hit that even plane, despite the challenges that these three cards, the Five of Swords, the Eight of Wands, and the Devil, might represent in your life. It's not that you won't overcome it by any means. Whether the King of Pentacles also represents a bumper year in some ways financially, things may have been successful, even though on the surface things may not necessarily appear. And if it is in a financial sense, maybe it's in a wealth sense. And I mean wealth as in not necessarily just money, but what you feel wealthy in life, or health. Because of course the pentacles can represent both of those things. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that your bank balance is in the millions, although it would be nice. It could just represent more of you've made leaps and strides this year. You've made some really sensible decisions. You've perhaps at times had to take the cautious road, but that was the right road. The King of Pentacles is ruled by Taurus. So there's much to be learned from your neighboring star sign, or almost neighboring star sign, of actually slow and steady perhaps was the right course of action. As kind of frustrating as it may have seemed at times, as much as you wanted to rush ahead or have instant proof that something was working, it's this recognition, okay, to build it up by layer probably was the best way to go. It's not to be faddy or a flash in the pan success. That isn't what sustainable success looks like. And then finally, we finish on the Three of Wands, the protagonist looking out across the land, thinking, what's next? What great adventure is in front of me? Slightly makes me laugh because he's literally got his back to the Devil, the Five of Swords, and the Eight of Wands. So probably quite glad to see the back of things in many ways, probably glad to see the back of the year out. But he is very much focused on the fireworks of 2025 rather than focus on the frustrations and the difficulties that that the year may have represented. So it will be, I'm pretty sure you'll be glad to see the back of 2024. So not a bad time. We've, as I said, lots and lots of yellow, and yellow for me is the color of optimism. It's the color of joy. It's the color of what we want to bring out into the world, because it links very closely with the solar plexus. So looking at the next adventure as something really, really promising. And what are your plans? What are your hopes? What are your... And particularly, I would say, in a long-term sense. Very often we look at New Year's resolutions as, what am I going to do for the year? And maybe a nicer way to reframe it is, well, what am I going to do this year that will get me closer to my long-term goals? Because that feels a bit more manageable. It's not that we have to achieve something right here, right now. It's okay, if I want to, for instance, change my career, okay, I might not be able to do that immediately, but what's the one small step that I can do? Okay, maybe it's about doing that training course. Maybe it's about signing up to that to that agency, whatever it might be. And that feeling a lot less daunting, if we just look at, well, I want to change my career, how's that going to happen? Oh gosh. And then before we know it, we've got caught in our head. We go, okay, this is a long-term plan, but what can I do next year that brings me closer to it? It doesn't have to necessarily succeed it, because again, you've got that King of Pentacles, that slow and steady wins the race. And it will also just give you a sense of, this is manageable, this is achievable, rather than thinking, I'm going to learn French in 2 weeks. And you're only kind of setting yourself up to fail. So yeah, a really nice end to what otherwise might be a bit of an interesting week. But as I said there, the devil is making itself known, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it makes us look at what we value and what we don't value, and what we are and aren't willing to put up with. So I think sometimes the devil in our life is sometimes the force that pushes us forward, because we have to move away from something rather than just stay in it. So that is my reading for you, Cancer. If you want to know more, and I've whetted your appetite or tickled your taste buds, is what I was going to say, but I don't think that's a saying. Be sure to check out your rising sign, your moon sign, and your sun sign, so you get more of an overview of the week ahead. But until then, have a wonderful, wonderful festive break, and I shall see you very soon. Bye for now.